Acre will stand strong this day, or the city shall fall and burn. Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Jackie Fish, and welcome back to another glorious Medieval Kingdoms 1212 AD battle. Today we have an epic scenario engagement. This is the Siege of Acre, which I believe is how you pronounce it. Kind of looks to me like Acre, but I was told that is how you pronounce it, so hopefully I'm not butchering anything along those lines. But this is the one, not the third Crusade one, which is one I know a lot more about, where the Crusaders took the city. But this is when the Mamluks have come back to reclaim it, and the Templars make like their last stand at the docks, and yeah, try and well, things did not go too well for them, and we'll have to see if that does go ahead and repeat itself in today's engagement. We'll also stick it on slow-mo as well, so that we don't get ahead of ourselves as the siege has already started. We have also had a bit of a minor bombardment phase going on off camera, just where the city can kind of get hit, so we're not having to sit around and wait for that. We're just straight into the action. But we do have a 2 vs 2, and there are plenty of forces on either side. Over 9,000 on the defending side and 11,000 on the attacking side. Again, numbers will vary, obviously nowhere near historically accurate. However, it's here for balancing, you know. This is a cool scenario they're trying to recreate, and then we obviously have balancing to one side. The Mamluks are going to be represented by the Umayyads, and I believe the other, I can't remember who's playing on the other side, but we'll take a look at them in a second. The Umayyads, or I will just call them the Turks, because that's kind of what they were in history. We do have the Mamluks even, sorry. We do have a very, very strong line of heavy infantry. These guys are fully equipped. This is, I believe, in 1291 this battle taking place, so yeah, these guys are more than well equipped to get stuck in and yeah, get their weapons bloodied. Their arm piercing engagements are going to be going very favorable for them, and they're going to be up against it because they're going to be up against, you know, heavy Knights Templar, Hospitallers, and the whole range of other infantry. We then have an awesome unit of Mamluk Foot Guard, and I love the new icon they've added in for this unit on the kind of overhead icon bit, I guess. It's really cool. It shows that they are also a bow unit, but also can get stuck into melee, and you can rely on them to really get dived in and yeah, get their weapons bloody. We also have some lighter spearmen here, again moving forward into position, and then you can obviously see a whole range of infantry in them siege towers ready to push in. Again, on the flanks as well, we do have a couple more infantrymen, and then we do have the Sultan's bodyguard as well. Unfortunately, Saladin would have been long gone by this point, as the third Crusader, I think, was almost 100 years ago, or if not over 100 years ago at this point. But still, they're ready to get their weapons bloody. I don't actually know who was leading these forces at that time period for the Mamluks. Then on the other side, I think this actually is the Mamluks. We do have, again, a front line of a pretty heavy infantry pushing up the siege towers. As we go further back, we have an assortment of spearmen with all their different weapons. You've got some kind of more jagged spears, some which are a lot more pointy. Continue to go back, we do have some of the Mamluk Tabadoria. Awesome unit, very deadly. If you get this unit in a flank, it will tear the opponent apart, and they will have nothing to stop them. We also have 2 Naftoon throwers as well, so these are bomb throwers on either side of the walls. We have one over on this side and another 2 on the other side as well, so not a bad setup. And look at that as well, one of the siege towers has been destroyed now, so that's going to be pretty hard going for the Mamluks trying to get all the way up there. We do have some bombards on the walls trying to repel the enemy, trying their best. Don't know how successful they are going to be. Then for the defenders, we do have the Kingdom of Jerusalem, so they're going to be a mix of Hospitallers, Templars. I don't know if there's going to be any of the Spanish Knights here, if they're just going to decide to bring them, because I think they do have access to them. Not 100% sure though. The heavily armored knights scattered throughout the settlement. They're going to be able to put up a pretty deadly defense. This is, you know, a heavily armored faction, and they'll be able to really get stuck in again. But you have some early period infantry. Their crossbows are very deadly as well. You do have the Hospitaller crossbowmen. They're going to be able to hammer these wall positions, which is going to be really, really nice. As soon as the towers drop, these guys are going to be able to hit them in the side as they mount them walls. They've got plenty of infantry, and as you can see, they are setting up a pretty well-mounted defense. There's a lot of infantry scattered throughout the settlement, but their main hub is going to be around the ducks, much like it was historically. So we're going to be trying to protect this and, make it their final stand if it does come to that. So let's go ahead and start this battle, see what the players will do, and see how they would approach it. It does look like they're going to be trying to take these walls as best as they can before pushing into any of the breaches, not looking to overextend anywhere. And there is also no way they can attack down this route as well. You can see the red line right here, and this is all like unmountable terrain. So the kind of southern part of the settlement is pretty well protected, which is nice. We also do have some cavalry moving out, looking to maybe try and cause some mischief. Maybe go out of this breach point that's been created by the attackers and see if they can get stuck in. But yeah, and again, probably not. There you go. The walls have been breached. The towers have made their way to the walls themselves, and now they're going to be overrunning these defenses. And I mean, obviously, this is what the attackers want. They want to take these walls, and the defenders want them to come in. They can't feasibly defend this entire wall without getting absolutely slaughtered. I mean, just look at that down there. There are, a very, very thick line of enemy infantry, especially with these foot knights as well, shooting over, or foot guard, shooting over volley after volley. They just will not stand a chance. They put any resistance up anywhere else. Yeah, there are a few more engagements now kicking off here as well, as we are getting the first glimpse of battle right here as the infantry do make their way down. And I can't imagine, again, I'm not going to try and pronounce what this unit is called, but I can't imagine the dismounted Crusader Knights are going to be doing amazingly against these guys. I imagine their stats are probably just slightly better. Yeah, the Mamluks do have, well, I say that, the Crusader Knights have got better melee defense, but the attacking Mamluks do have better melee attacks, so it probably evens itself out. So this is probably actually a pretty even matchup, but obviously there are plenty of more reinforcements where that came from. There really is. We're also getting some bowmen pushed into the city. Oh, it seems like the Mamluks have made a pretty solid push into the settlement here, and they've set up a nice defensive position right here, and this is really good. Able to kind of defend this choke point allows you to then bring in these archers to then hammer away at some of these other positions. And again, they're going to trade pretty poorly with the crusading archers just because they're going up against more heavily armored Mamluk foot archers, which are very, very well versed at archer combat. So it's going to be interesting to see how this happens, and I'm surprised the Crusaders have given away this position. But then again, oh man, that first volley moving in, absolutely hammering away the Order Swordsmen in the rear as well. And oh, look at these guys. Oh, they are heavily armored. And then the Crusaders are going to return a volley. Give them hell, boys. Give them hell. But yeah, not killing a single man. And then here you go. The Crusaders are now going to push in. So kind of surprising seeing the Crusaders going on the offensive in this battle. Really trying to get themselves stuck in, and I try and beat them back. I can kind of understand why they did give this up, though. Because that's destroyed. Actually, they shouldn't have given this position up. I was going to say, they probably gave this position up so that they didn't get just shot from above from these siege towers. But there is actually no feasible way to get down from this wall. So if they did land soldiers up here, they would be stuck. And it would not be a bad thing to bait them up here in the slightest. So I'm surprised that they have given up this position, and the Axemen as well are immediately getting focused down by a lot of the missile fire. Luckily, there is no way around the dock, so Crusaders are going to be able to defend this quite nicely. And they've got some of their dismounted knights as well, with the longer spears as well stuck in here. And they'll do much better at keeping the enemy at distance and holding them at bay. As we go further and further along the settlement, we do actually have a cavalry charge diving through the gates. Brutal. Some heavy Mamluk cavalry. Just going to try and pull their way through using their heavier maneuverability and just breaking the ranks. There's just not enough infantry here to hold them in place. And they're going to go immediately after these crossbowmen. Not a bad idea. They're going to take heavy casualties, and this is an expensive unit, and they've almost lost half their unit. And they're obviously going to be the focus point for a lot of crossbow fire. So I can completely understand why you're doing this, because, it is a very, very aggressive move. It gets yourself into the back ranks, but it's going to obviously lose them a lot of money. But when you are the attacker, you definitely have the advantage. And right here as well, you're just getting an entire pull-through from the attackers, just trying to break the ranks. And again, that does come at a price. You do lose men doing that. And as well as that, you know, it's kind of the defender's fault for not having a sturdier line here and more men to stop this from happening. Because if someone tries to pull through and you're ready for it, you can absolutely massacre them. So, yeah, you can see immediately a counter charge here. And boom, just like that, this unit of cavalry killed 50 men. That's not really worth it. So, you know, pull through isn't always, as gross as it does look, is not always the answer. On the other side as well, we can see the Principality of Antioch, which I believe is defending this side, has set up a lot of crossbowmen ready to give their lives. So actually got a barricade set up here, which I love to see as well. You're going to see these crossbowmen set up and fire down the barricade. However, they are immediately the focus point for some of these foot archers, these foot guard. But they're big for these shields, should give them at least some protection as they volley off. And obviously, again, the axemen are going to be their main focus point, because these guys are going to be the units that do cut through them. And yeah, the rest of the Crusaders are just kind of hiding. They're biding their time, trying to force the enemy into the settlement. They are kind of going to be sitting back very passively, not fighting for every inch of the city, it doesn't seem. More so just kind of biding their time. And here you go, more reinforcements now turning up to the gatehouse. Going to kind of try and, you know, plug any of these holes, but it's a little bit too late as the Mamluks do break their way through. There's a big gaping hole right there, which the Mamluks took full advantage of. However, the cavalry is immediately in there to hit that unit in the side and punish it for being out of position, and that is going to hurt. This unit is going to be taking heavy casualties as the knights continue to move in. Yeah, look at that. The number is dropping, and already their morale has dropped to shaken, which is not going to hold if they get hit again. And yeah, that kind of cavalry countercharge, again, a problem with the whole pulling through is you find yourself enveloped by the enemy, which unless it's an elite unit, is going to drop pretty quickly. These crossbows are immediately trying to kill that foot guard before it can fire all its ammunition, which again is a really smart move, because these crossbowmen are a unit that can definitely bring these guys down. And this is a unit you want to kill regardless, right? Because it's a good infantry unit. So, you know, generally I don't like to kind of waste shots of missiles onto other missiles, because nothing much really happens. They just kind of ping off each other and slowly kill one another. But in this situation, I love to see it. You know, every foot guard you kill is going to be absolutely huge. Down here, though, we do actually have some of the Hospitaller crossbowmen stuck into melee. I love all the mixed shields as well. You have some kite shields in there. More cavalry moved up, and then we also have a unit of pikemen being brought up for the Crusaders. Thrown in against the enemy position and hoping for the best. You can see, though, it is a pretty bloody fight, and I think they are getting pushed back. It's just how much damage can they do. Does seem like over on this side as well, they have been enveloped, and oh, look at that sad line of Crusaders. I'm surprised no more reinforcements are being sent in here, or if these missiles chosen to shoot in the side, but I guess they'd much rather try and go after these archers, or maybe the axemen themselves. And we do have an entire archer unit firing at this kind of testudo setup, and there you go. Missile fire is now being focused down here. And I feel like these Crusaders they're surrounded, but they will hold their line and just kind of try and buy as much time for the city's defenses as they can. An honourable stand, but a stand that will be taken down. Some cavalry is being reinforced as well. You can actually see some of the Hospitaller Knights being brought up. Are they going to look for a good charge? Because they could quite easily smash into that flank and do some serious damage. They are getting caught on their own men, though. Unfortunately, the formation did just get broken, though. If these dismounted knights could hold for just a tad longer, this would have been way more deadly. Yeah, I mean, that's still pretty brutal, but they're going to take a lot of casualties pulling out because they're a lot more mixed matched. A nice pull-out direction, though. That pull-out game was strong there by the Hospitallers. Able not to pull through the unit, but to the side and then out. That's going to save a lot more lives, and they're going to go straight back in here. I mean, luckily, though, the Mamluks have done a very smart move. They've clumped up their infantry, and when the cavalry can't punch through like that, they do suffer a lot of damage because they just can't find themselves the kind of breakthrough they want. When it's only one unit, they can break through that unit and keep on going and trample as they go. When it's 3 units piled up on each other, they just don't have the mass to break through. And here we go. More reinforcements being sent to this position. How are we looking on Antioch's front? There is some engagements now, and it looks like this street is going to be where they're going to meet their maker. Such a cool unit. It's so nice as well, as I don't cover 12-12 like all the time, but when I do, I love going into it because all the units get constantly updated. Like a lot of the factions do receive big overhauls, and I see units like this which I've never seen before, and they just look so goddamn good. Really amazing stuff. And obviously the campaign update is right around the corner as well. Hopefully we'll be getting that soon enough, which will be very, very exciting. They are working tirelessly to bring you guys that new update. So this must be a pretty good position, right? You have crossbowmen set up here. Oh, we do have the Napatoon throwers coming in, though. Destructive stuff. And immediately the Crusaders are going to be falling back in the missile fire. Oh, it's completely trained on the Napatoons. I mean, that's one of the problems of the Napatoons, is they're basically a glass cannon. If they can get in without any missile fire, they will devastate. They've only got 8 kills there, so not too bad. But if any crossbow fire finds its way into them, it is over. And this is definitely a street of death right now, as the Crusaders do form up their position quite nicely. Crusaders getting stuck in now. But the Mamluks are relentless. Their high quality soldiers are definitely proving their worth as they continue to put more and more pressure. I mean, honestly, the Mamluks could think about just ignoring this position because, you know, right now it's a really good crossfire. You've got the Hospitallers setting up here, shooting into the side of the Syrian Ashara. And that's obviously going to be doing a lot of damage. You could think about just literally ignoring this street and just moving around other flanks, which again is going to take you time and a lot of effort, but you can definitely do it. You know, if you just go this way and you send your men around this way and just kind of ignore this street and kind of just play a bit more defensive, like set up like a defensive perimeter like here and here, just with 1 or 2 units. And if they want to push out and try and attack you, they can. There's 4 units they've got set there, which you don't have to really worry about. That could definitely have been a good strategy to employ. Seems that they are going to just try and break the enemy. And honestly, I think the Crusaders of Jerusalem are going to really struggle on this left-hand side. And are going to need more reinforcements to come in and save them, if I'm being completely honest. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Antioch having to pull back to the docks. Because look at that, the capture point is right here. And right now, you know, the Mamluks on the left-hand side are within striking distance of this. And obviously, if they lose that position, the game is over. You can see the archers on the wall are now paying dividends, able to quite quickly fire down on the opponents and do some really, really serious damage. Very, very cool battle indeed so far. The archer fight does look a bit silly, but yeah, these guys will definitely be racking up some good kills. How many kills are they on so far? 130 right now. That's pretty brutal. We've still got half ammunition left. 177. This other unit over 130. And they can obviously also go down and get themselves right into melee combat. So, you know, it's going to be very, very vulnerable. And that's what's going to be doing the damage in this battle. The infantry is more there to facilitate the archers, to rack up the kills and push in further and further. And with obviously the support of the Archer Fire, their infantry units, which maybe will be very evenly matched with the Crusaders, are now completely the opposite. You know, they have an overwhelming advantage because this Archer Fire is just racking up serious casualties. And now some of the Axemen are being brought up into the fight as well. Yeah, I think this far right-hand wall is very much lost. However, you know, the city is still large and there are still plenty of reinforcements that can be brought in. There is plenty of reserves. It's just I'm pretty nervous about this street right here. Like, I really am. The attackers could quite easily break up here. And it's, you know, if the defenders aren't on it and don't bring back men to reinforce this, they could end up losing the city center. And that's like basically the command post completely taken. As there, you know, there's still plenty of reinforcements being brought into the city as we speak. But again, the defenders do have, what, 2 units of pikemen right here and 3 units of halberds. These guys are sitting like kind of really far away. in this position because they don't want to overcommit to the battle and get shot by missiles. You know, the attackers aren't stupid. They're going to save a lot of their missiles. This unit of crossbows as well, up to 122 kills. Pretty good, considering most of their kills have all been on heavily armored targets. They are going to find their match pretty soon. As you can see, that does get destroyed, and then this infantry unit is going to rip through them. And that's going to open up another avenue of attack as well, which is quite nice. They can now bring up, kind of create a bit more of a stronger beachhead. And if they can kill any of these archers as well, that would be really huge. Catching a few of them, not too many of them. But yeah, bringing down a handful of them. And obviously reinforcements will be committed now as well. Got some of the more heavy crusading Northmen here being thrown in to aid their allies. And the crossbows kind of setting up, looking to hit these guys. Again, neither side wants to overcommit. They basically just want to set up more of a safe haven here. So these swordsmen are going to be falling back, taking a lot of missile fire, but you know, again, reinforcements of their own being brought up. They just don't want to find themselves in the crossfire here, which they're going to find themselves in, but it's a difficult situation. But they have plenty of reinforcements to be brought back inside the city. How the Knights doing over on this side. So just trying to find their mark, and yeah, you can see the attackers are really relentlessly pushing. And all of a sudden, it seems like the Hospitallers have managed to envelop the opponent's faction. Doing a pretty good job of this as well. Yeah, this unit is pretty well surrounded. Got Order Swordsman there, Hospitaller Caravan, and also the Knights as well. Really surrounding this unit, attacking on every single front. We also as well have another unit of Spearmen here. Very good defensive unit that they're going to find, you know, kind of a hard nut to crack. But it's going to come down to numbers and how efficiently missiles are used. Oh, we did see a unit of infantry being brought up on the wall, though. The Hospitallers making a brave charge here. And unfortunately finding themselves enveloped by enemy infantry. But they might be able to fight their way out of this, which if they can, that'll be very good. I think probably their main plan was to try and get across the wall and hit that foot guard, which would have been very useful. Look at the bodies piling up. The infantry. Yeah, almost non-existent then. It does seem like that the attackers have claimed this position and now are pushing up the hill. And this is where the pikes are being brought in. But again, these missiles will be in perfect kind of avenues to shoot them pikes as soon as they come into vision, if the attackers do obviously see it. And you can see some of the fighting up on the hill. I mean, these guys must be exhausted. Not even exhausted, just tired. Well, they're tired and they're going up against fresh pikemen. And also, look at how amazing these crusading pikes look. So clean. Such an amazing unit, God. The team in 1212 is so goddamn good. And more pikes being sent to the party. I wonder where these guys are off to. Seems like they are coming back now, but luckily most of the towers have been destroyed, so they're not taking any kind of consistent missile fire whatsoever. We also have some Nafatoons being brought up. Oh, this would be a great target for Nafatoons. However, immediately the Hospitallers are just going to be pulling through their Knights and going right after the Nafatoons, silencing them. And that's what's going to happen every single time. Nafatoons are such a great unit, but it's so hard to use them because immediately as soon as they are brought into the fight, you get Knights pulling through, you get missile fire coming in, and again, they pulled, basically the Hospitaller Knights pulled through nothing there. As it's basically all friendly units, and there was a clear gap here for them to move in and, yeah, demolish them. We're going to set up here, charging into the side. Oh, the Nafatoons are going to get some volleys off, though. Not bad. They are getting their shots off. It doesn't seem like these Knights are really dealing with them. Up to 20 quick kills. Obviously not made back their price yet, but still not bad. You know, they basically got 20 kills that they wouldn't normally have gotten. It does seem like the Crusaders are going to repel the attackers with this Knights charge coming in. It seems like this little kind of avenue here has been secured. And I'm also very surprised seeing the attackers bringing more infantry to this section. I guess they really want to try and break up here. Like, take care of this section of the wall and then make their way through into the city. But yeah, I'm surprised we're not seeing more infantry brought through here. I guess they feel like they maybe can't support it enough, so that's why they're going to commit more men through here. But yeah, stretching the enemy like this and kind of creating an avenue where you can send men down here and basically get this kind of crossfire right here, I think is very useful. Because then you end up trapping a lot of infantry here and forcing like one side to fall back. If this side breaks right here, then these guys here are forced to then go back and kind of set up a new line like here. Otherwise, they end up getting enveloped and then killed. Over on the other side as well, we haven't really seen too much from the Antioch fight, but they are now really getting stuck in. We do have some of the Axemen going toe-to-toe with the Northern Crusaders. Honestly, not sure who has the better chance of winning this engagement, but obviously with, you know, supporting crossbowmen, some halberds now being thrown into the fight. I imagine the defenders do have a decent line, but all the Naftons are up. They're immediately going to throw some of the explosives, but I also would imagine missile fire is immediately going to be trained on them. Are they going to get many kills? How many kills are they on now? Just so we know, 8 kills so far. They are going to get a volley off. I'm surprised missiles aren't being shot on them. Immediately missiles are now being thrown. Having to reform quickly. Yeah, the crossbows are trying to come in, but I think they're having a hard time getting like an arcing shot on them. And there you go. Come on, keep firing. You're in such a dangerous position. Again, this isn't the players. This is the unit probably being quite finicky. Oh, come on, just fire already. There you go. They're facing the enemy now. I don't think they care about friendly fire. I'm surprised as well that these crossbowmen aren't shooting them. There we go. Oh my god. Slaughtering them. I need to be careful not to hold this unit in place, and immediately again more missiles being focused down on the Naftons. We're going to get another volley off. They are taking a lot of casualties. Shot him aside. So yeah, only about another 20 kills. About another, what, 30, 36 kills they managed to get there. Which I guess is good. But still pretty dangerous. And the attackers have managed to break in here quite nicely. They're just going to leave themselves kind of vulnerable as we do have the more Crusader Knights moving into a position here. Probably immediately onto these Foot Knights, I would assume. And also, again, I love this defensive crossfire they have going on. With this position right here, these crossbows are going to be hitting the Mamluks in the back. Which is going to be pretty deadly. More cavalry being brought up here. Going to get a little bit caught up in their own men. But over the barricades and into the fray once more. And they're going to be able to chase the Crusading Knights off. Or just stick into a pretty hefty engagement. Both sides have very, very good units. I believe the Mamluk cavalry is slightly better. In a prolonged engagement, we'll have to see how they go. And yeah, and that charge, and obviously getting the charge off was pretty valuable. Does seem like as well the Mamluks are doing a great job at kind of enveloping this position. As well as that, these two units of dismounted Crusader Knights are pretty alone right now as well. There's no way, they can't retreat because of the barricades. They kind of are stuck in this alleyway right now, as the rest of their brothers are being kind of surrounded right now. Which I kind of like. Just kind of clear out this area and bring up missiles to deal with these guys. These halberds will melt. How are they doing on the other side, though? The attackers are committing a lot of infantry, struggling to overwhelm this position. The pikes are holding their own and repelling the enemy assaults. Nice position right there. Over on this position, we do have yeah, pretty hefty melee engagement. As you guys can see, Crusaders and Mamluk soldiers going toe-to-toe here. But the Crusading battle line is pretty thin. The Knights Templar look thick over on this right-hand side. That center could be cracked open if the Hospitallers can't hold their nerve. But more reinforcements are being brought to the fight. And we do obviously also have as well the really, really heavy Knights here, wielding huge axes and hammers, which would be great at dealing with the heavily armored Mamluks. Oh man, Naftons though. Every shot they can get off is so deadly. This one up to 74. So I don't honestly think that either side of the Naftons have really paid for themselves, but still, this unit of Naftons is having free roam of things now. And I think they're going to be able to break through this position. If these Naftons can keep on throwing, it's also the morale shock they do as well. 85 kills so far, not bad. Yeah, I like the way as well the Crusaders have kind of, you know, held this position, but now they're going to kind of be repelled off of it. As these Foot Knights obviously immediately focusing down the Knights. This is obviously, you know, a risky maneuver because it will able the Hospitallers to fire back at these guys, but I think they just need to break through this position. Try and kill as many pikemen as possible. Van's power isn't looking great either. And we are getting both sides bringing lots of knights around. Almost ignoring this section of the battlefield. And yeah, doing as I said, bringing up some more archers. Just to basically shoot down these halberds. Because fighting the halberds from the front is going to be deadly. However, we have a big counter-offensive inside the city. And that's forcing the attackers further in. Because look at this, a big sally out right now. And this is going to trap this entire attacking Mamluk force here. I love to see it. Oh, yeah, they're literally going to trap these guys inside. There is no escape. That is awesome. Can I create a nice little blockade here of infantry? They're going to kind of set up a unit of halberds there. And then set up a unit of halberds here and just kind of close the distance in. That's actually really... Look at that. They've literally trapped them. That is so sick. And now the Mamluks have to fight their way out. But, you know, there's more reinforcements coming in. And this is not looking good. And now we're going to slowly close the web. Inch by inch. Push in, and then suffocating them. That is amazing. And with halberds set up here as well, this cavalry won't be able to get out. Yeah, and they really have to just end up fighting their way through. And now they're committing some of their awesome Crusader Northmen in. These beasts of the north. They're going to be well equipped, and obviously now they've trapped them, the halberds can now push in behind them. So honestly, they need to try their best to break through this position. And look at this as well. Yeah, they've really committed a lot to try and break these Crusader Knights. I just don't think they need to. Like, again, the Nathatoons would be so useful at killing these pockets of resistance. Like, exactly what they're doing right here. This is a really good move because this is such a segregated unit that it doesn't have missile support. It doesn't have infantry, like cavalry support. So this is where the Nathatoons really excel, I think, is at killing these kind of smaller pockets which are kind of away from the battlefield. However, it does seem like they are being brought up probably to hit these crusading halberds. Again, they need to be careful in case more men do come back. And look at that. Yeah, it does seem like this entire section has been broken now. And the city center is wide open. They could quite easily move their way into the city and just take the city center and win on time. Like they would feasibly take the city. That's kind of what this capture point means. If the defenders aren't holding it, they take the city and win. You know? And then it's basically like the rest of the armies are just being kind of like slowly picked off bit by bit. We don't see it, but it's kind of almost like you need to fall back now, defenders. Because if you don't, this is completely open. Yeah, and there's like... Oh, is this for capture point? I can't remember. No, it would be this, right? Yeah, this is the main capture point. They need to reinforce this ASAP. I mean, there's still 10 minutes left of a battle, so they can't just move in and take it. There has to be fighting for it. But yeah, they need to bring back men ASAP. There's also still some fighting on the walls as well, man. This has been a bloody battle. There's still fighting going up on the walls. As archer fire has been plowing into the side of these heavily armored knights, being very, very effective, honestly. We'll have to see how effective it is, though, in the grand scheme of things. We are able to repel the enemy, but look at that. The city center is about to be overrun. We do have more reinforcements being rushed back. But the attackers have also made it up this hill with the support of the archers, taking away the pikemen. They've softened them up enough for more infantry to be brought up. And yeah, now we're getting a full-on retreat. This trap has kind of been successful. Did the cavalry die as well? It must have, right? Unless it escaped. I can't imagine it has escaped. Yeah, and the Nathatoon's doing a great job here, picking off more and more of these dismounted knights. They're making this kind of side of things much, much more equipable and successful. However, the Crusaders have still managed to hold this position. It's just the city center is going to be overrun. And the defenders seemingly aren't committing enough. They are not worried enough about this. Like, they need to send everything back, because as you can see, the attackers are setting up a decent defense. They're playing the game. They're not taking the flag quite yet, but they're moving up a nice little defense. So they're going to have people to stop the stop the defenders from getting back. You know, they're setting up men here. They're setting up men here. They're creating like a beachhead there. And they've got a good stream here to come in if they want to just fall back. And really, right now, all it is up to this attacking player just to keep them busy. Like, throw your men, throw everything you've got of them, because you can quite easily win this by just taking the capture flag. Numbers-wise, you obviously have the advantage as well, so you can be very aggressive. We are seeing the attackers falling back now. Or, sorry, the defenders falling back now. But the capture flag is now being taken. That's risky business. It's pretty interesting to see if they do have enough here. Crusaders brutally fighting back to try and claim this one. And this is a truly last stand at the docks right now, which is pretty awesome. Because I believe that is how historically the last siege happened, after, I believe, numerous fires and everything along them lines. Fighting after inch of the city. And then inevitably the fortress held, or the fortress fell. Capture point is being taken slowly. Oh, it seems like they've stopped capturing this, or are they still capturing? Is it going down? I can't quite tell. Yeah, no, it is going down, so they are still capturing this as well. Slowly, they are doing it. And this is biding the attackers a lot of time to set up more defenses. And defenders more time to fall back. They are being broken as well. It's not like they are winning in these all these decisive engagements. They are still up against it. And you've got Axemen up against the Hospitaller Knights. And this unit of Spearmen's about to be completely enveloped, smashed into the back. They're quickly trying to reform up to defend a different position, but obviously going to be taking casualties as they turn their backs to the enemy. Yeah, losing heavy casualties. Oh my god, we lost about 30 men doing that, but I guess it's better than being completely enveloped. We lost more than 30 men doing that. And now they've formed a nice little spear wall to make their last stand. They also have created a gap if anything can make their way through here to kind of just tip these guys in the side, but I don't think that's going to be possible. The city centre dipping down, and I honestly don't think, with only 5 minutes left of this battle, I don't think they're going to be able to make their way back inside the settlement. They're rushing back with all haste, but all the attackers have to do is just slow them up, commit more and more men, and as you can see, a lot of these archers are now going to break just under the superior quality. These crossbows aren't made for prolonged engagements. So this position is going to be completely overrun, and then all these units are going to be able to move right back in. We have one of the Prince of Antioch moving in. Going to try and do anything he can. I mean, there is a big gap here he can utilize. He's going to go straight into the back here of the flanking units. Going to be doing some serious damage, obviously. Hitting anything in the back is going to be great. The more reinforcements being committed, and this flag is going to go down soon. And the timer is going to start ticking. I just feel like there's way too much here. Way too much. But maybe the general unit can break their way through. Because, I mean, there are plenty of units, right? I'm really surprised we're not seeing more units being sent back here. Like, this unit's just holding here. At this point, these, like, positions don't matter. I would just retreat everything I've got. Because, yeah, you're going to be giving up ground, but if you don't give up ground, you're going to lose the game anyway. You know, like, defending this just doesn't matter. Leave a unit back here and bring everything else back. It's the only hope. And then down here as well, we have another unit of Crusaders moving in. There you go, the city centre has now been taken. And there's no real reinforcements. I mean, we do have the Prince of Antioch fighting tooth and nail to try and break these guys and at least put some resistance up. What honestly the Prince of Antioch could do as well is just move his way through. Move his way through here and just sit on the capture point. That should stop him from capturing and buy you more time to be able to bring more men back. Because honestly, there's not a lot here. He is just hammering and anviling and already up to 280 kills. So he's doing a seriously good job That timer is now ticking. They are doing a good job at breaking through, though. They've managed to clear this section off, and they've got a unit of pikes already up here. Some crossbows are moving in now to help clear out as well. But all of these men can now move inside the city and reinforce this capture point. I'm really surprised more isn't being committed here by the attackers as well. They do need to deal with this. I don't know why this cavalry isn't moving in to help out either. They have managed to break this, and maybe they can silence this capture point. This cavalry needs to reinforce because the flag is being taken, right? And honestly, I don't even know if the defenders take this back now. Like, what happens? They won't be able to take back this flag in time, right? So they are capturing it, but the timer is still ticking. So I don't think they have enough units here. I think the battle is just over. And even though the defenders are going to slowly progress taking this flag back, it's just not enough. Unless they can reinforce with more men. And unfortunately, this unit does now break as well, so that's going to stop this flag from capturing. More reinforcements moving along here. And the battle is over. I'm really surprised this cavalry didn't come in here, though, and just help clean out. But I think at this point, they kind of realized the battle's over. And there is no hope left. So the city is going to be overrun. I mean, there's really nothing left anyway for the defenders. It's just really kind of this section right here that is still alive. And that's about it. The rest of the position is pretty much taken. And the city is going to be lost. And one of the last defensive points for the Crusaders along the Jerusalem coastline is now going to be overrun. And that's going to send them packing back to Europe. And there you go, GG. Massive shout out to the guys who did go ahead and send in this replay. I really appreciate it. I love all the historical battles. And I love getting more 12-12 on the channel. Always. Beautiful mod. And I can't wait until the next update comes out and they have the larger battlefield mod as well, so that these battles aren't going to be so like confined to the red box. They're going to be able to be, spanning a lot more distance. As you can see, yeah, the kills seriously going in, and the attackers just had a huge advantage when it comes to numbers. In the end, unfortunately, the defenders were pretty up against it, and they never could really find their way. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this battle. If you did, make sure to drop a like and a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.